Hello, and welcome to the Instant Ink Comic Book Podcast. This is a podcast where every couple of episodes, we get a new creator in, a writer, an artist, a podcaster, any kind of creator in to help us put a one-page comic together, something that didn't exist before we started the conversation. Today, we have a comic creator of all sorts from Adriano Media. We have Mark Romero here. But before we get to him, I'm going to let you know who I am, who's talking in your ear right now. My name's Adriano. You can find me at pestocomics.com or at Pesto Comics on almost every social out there. I'm on Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram primarily. So Pesto Comics, pestocomics.com. Very easy to find. As always, I'm joined by Roberto, our artist here. Roberto, let them know who you are.
Hi, my name is Roberto Viacava. I'm a co-creator of Voyager, and you can find me on my webpage, that is illustration.com. That's the easy way to find me. Thanks.
Right on. And then, Mark, I buried the lead, but please introduce yourself. Let them know exactly where to find you.
Hi, I'm Mark. I'm one of the creators on the Addict Media team, and I can be found at Mark on Blue Sky and I think Facebook. And then you can also find the whole team at Addict Media on just about everything.
Amazing. Nice and easy. I got tripped up on it because, I wasn't sure if it was Addict Media or Addict Comics, but yeah, it sounds like one or the other is going to get you where you need to go. So that's good. Right on. So before I ask too many questions before we get started, because I'm not always disciplined about that, I am going to bring up a page of prompts. All right, there they are. However, ignore the ones that are there because I've been looking at them. So I'm going to generate these new ones. I see one repeat, but we could always use it again. So let me read these out and then you tell me what makes sense to you. So, beautiful sunset. Something magical happens as the sun disappears over the horizon. Coming dread. Write about doing something that needs to be done right away, but nobody wants to do it. Slipknot. What is getting tied up and why? The foreclosure. What happens when the bank comes to take away a family's home? And random wink. A random wink is received, and what are the results? Oh, some of them are really cool. So, any of those speaking to you?
Can we pick more than one?
You can absolutely combine them, yes.
I think I like Beautiful Sunset and Coming Dread. Yeah, kind of like
the juxtaposition.
Well, Coming Dread was the first that we did.
It might have been the first or the second one, but we're already on a different path by combining them. So I think this will be a cool take on it. But yeah, let's do that. Beautiful sunset, coming dread. Cool. Okay. I like the what is it, dichotomy? Is that what you call it? Of the two prompts?
Yeah.
Right on. Okay. So Roberto, if you can throw up your screen so you can see what you're up to.
Yes.
And then as you see this blank page, tell me what you envision while you see it. Anything coming to mind with those prompts?
Well, I feel like the obvious, the sunset. Got to be a sunset somewhere in the prompt. I feel like something kind of eldritch in the coming. Maybe coming from the water. Maybe Cthulhu-esque, I suppose. I want to try to think of something else. I think maybe sort of like impending doom of people that have kind of did their fate about what's coming.
Nice.
Kind of like a somber mood, accepting beautiful sunset. Also sad about the incoming danger.
Interesting. Okay. We got a good emotion there. So I like that. And I think we have an opening panel with the sunset. Or is it a final panel? So this is always the question. I find when we're trying to really plot out the page, I don't like to restrict it too much by ways of saying we should only do so many panels. We've done as few as 3 and as many as 9. So not so worried about that. But the thing to keep in mind is we're stuck on one page. So because of that, there's only so much story you can get out. So I find it's always good to start with the ending. Not everybody agrees, but I find that sometimes if you have the ending, you can get a good sense of where you're trying to get to, right? And then okay, now I can work backwards. I don't know if that's how you like to work. I don't want to force it upon you.
I would say that you are the expert in these one-page prompts, so I would have to, with what you thinking is the best option. I would. I have always have this problem. I think with uh, what to kind of write down for the panels, because sometimes I feel like should you have the same image on a singular page? I have this kind of vision of like you can have like the sunset twice on the page and the beginning and
Hmm.
the end, and where you get like the first page, like sort of the panicking page. Like first panel is like panicking, people panicking about their impending doom. And then in the middle, you kind of could probably explore like how people are kind of like handling the grief. So like you can go through like the stages of griefs from like each panel basically. And then
Oh
the
yeah,
last panel is the sunset again, and it is the kind of acceptance stage of the grief. That's kind
I
of
like that.
I don't know
Um,
the stages of grief.
yeah. How many stages of grief are there? Is it
Probably
7?
too many for all the panels.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. There's 5. There's 5 stages. So I had to look that up as you were talking. 5 stages of grief. Grief. We got denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. That's I mean,
We could
we could
probably
fit
mix
5
denial and
panels.
anger. Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
We- So is it? Okay. So I think I like the idea. Yeah, you got people on a boat and they're kind of going through this. Um, and then is it so limited panels? 2 people, maybe. Let's say, yeah.
Two people. Yeah.
2 people. I feel like Roberto, what you're doing now is like that's the acceptance. It's the 2 people on the edge of the cliff, kind of like resigned to their fate. You need like a big like monster hanging over the sunset, though. I feel like that's what's waiting there. It doesn't have to be, but I just see it. I see like that's them accepting their fate. Is that this like giant beast is coming towards them? Um, yeah. Okay. So if that's acceptance, we work backwards from that. Depression. So there's denial, anger, bargaining, and depression.
Mm. I'm not sure about uh, depression yet, but bargaining I could see with like people trying to like pray or like huddle together, kind of like doing like a rosary of some kind. That feels like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
typical like bargaining style thing for impending doom, right?
I like that. I like that. Um, and then
Can you do me
yep.
the 5 stages again?
Yeah, absolutely. It's so the last one's acceptance. I think we got that. So it's denial, anger, bargaining, depression. Denial's number 1. I'm going too fast, my bad. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression. I feel like this. See, if I was writing this, it would never fit on one page. There's so much like I could see 2 people arguing, and it's basically like one person's constantly off the handle, right? Like you got to have like your straight man, and then your person who literally goes through all these steps on their own, right? That's how I would handle it. And I just think there's some comedy in that. That it's
5 pages, not 5 panels.
yeah, right. At least, so it's a lot harder to pull off. Um, I feel like if you're doing that though, if you're doing this on a 1-pager, like you could probably get away with doing it silently in the sense of, um, because of the fact that you can't really like get into the debate, right? You just gotta kind of show it. So it may work in our favor in that sense that we have to simplify this concept a bit. Um,
I like that kind of scared with that.
yeah, right.
That's pretty good for denial. I'm sure what you're doing, like anger.
I feel like
people kind of
like
lash
the
out.
anger. I almost feel like either has to be one person holding the other person back, right? Like they're gonna go fight this thing.
Oh yeah, I do think it's probably important to see like people interacting with each other a little bit in a lot of these.
Yeah,
Yeah, and, maybe someone like pushing someone punching, like just all the feeling.
Yeah, I think okay, so yeah, you know what? Because I said, it's always good to restrict it to one or two people. But I think to your point, it makes more sense given the limitations of the page to just have this all be different people. So we're gonna really stretch Roberto's character design muscle today. And just have all these different people going through the different sets of emotions. And then it won't just be two people standing on the cliff. It's like a group of people and they all come to acceptance at the same time. Right? Um,
Oh
I
yeah,
think
that would be cute. You can have like all of the like 7 people or whatever, however many, just like sitting on the beach together.
yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, he did it very quickly, but that's exactly it. Right? And then there's like the flaw of the one page.
Oh,
I love
is
that
great.
quick monster there. That's amazing. But yeah, so the I always say it every time we do one of these. The flaw and the best part about a one-page panel is that one page comic rather, is people see all the panels up front, right? So you can't really get away with a surprise. So what you do is you give them the meat right away, right? They're gonna see the monster right away, but then it's like well, what is all this about? And you almost want them to be coerced into going back and reading the whole thing, right? So I think we can do that with this because now people who are clever or haven't watched the episode, uh, won't like they can see the hidden theme under this, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So we're giving them some layers without.
Oh, the baby.
Is that the bargaining? I like that. Yeah.
Is it too much?
I like
No,
it.
no.
No. That's the sacrifice. I love it. Desperate times, right? It's the like what's it gonna take? Oh, I like it. I like it. Oh man. And then denial or this one's depression. Or wait, yeah, no. Well, yeah, so I think that first panel works better. Yeah, so that first panel is at the depression. So we gotta move that. We gotta move that to this
Ah.
one.
Oh,
What's depression?
Yeah.
Denial and depression.
maybe a depression, maybe a denial if we flip them. If the first one is going to be depression, maybe the first one can be more of a fighting panel. Denial and like they're trying to resist the inevitable, so maybe like people shooting off into the water.
Yeah. Or are they like leaving? Or like that's not denial. Or are they going for a swim? That's pure denial.
Pure denial.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like that though. That'd be funny. Again, I would lean towards the comedic end of it, but we don't have to do that. I do wonder. So I think so. I always love like a motif or like a full circle moment. I wonder if we have have a panel very similar to the bottom one without the monster, with like the sunrise, or maybe it's still dark, and then but they're all overlooking the water, and that's where you start getting all these arguments, and then the reveal at the end is this monster's been waiting in the darkness kind of thing. I don't know if that's like a good approach to this. So it's like you're not just going straight into the arguments, you're kind of setting the scene. I think it's all these people on a cliff, and for some reason there's all these different emotions happening, right?
Mm.
And then you get into the like here's why at the end. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's your page. You are the director of this page. So you tell me if that is a good idea.
Yeah, would you say like including the sunset again on the first panel?
Yeah, so it would be like an establishing shot kind of without the monster, right? And then it's all these people like losing their minds, and then at the end it's like here's the reveal, like here's what they're all arguing about. Again, it's a
Yeah.
one page, so it's kind of given away anyway. But I wonder
that.
if it's
I think it goes to the initial idea of like having two sunsets on the panel and then like kind of showing the both sides of it.
yeah, exactly, right? It's like the first one's like, oh, what a beautiful scene, and but everybody's like, losing their minds, and it's like this is why, right?
Yeah.
And then maybe with the dialogue and that you can flesh out why all these arguments are starting and that, right? Like the denial one's a great one for them to be like, nothing's going to happen. Like, why is everybody losing their minds, right? And then you can kind of get into it.
And maybe you can even like this drama like this, but maybe like you can show like a little bit of the ocean, maybe like there's a little bit of a wave, like a bump in the water.
Yeah. Right, a little foreshadowing.
Yeah.
This is something that would be perfect on a page turn, but we have one page, so. But since we don't have that, yeah, again, it's like you get that foreshadowing. So you have the beginning of it, and then you start with the denial.
It's really cool seeing like everything kind of like come together. As a writer, I don't usually get to see the art happening like in real time like this.
Yeah, it's definitely part of the fun. It's like it's why we've had a lot of writers on, and it's always a similar feeling, right? Where it's like I don't know what happens between when I hit send and when it arrives. So it's always cool to be a part of this. And then usually too, like as much as you can collaborate with an artist, right? Going back and forth on a script, and they send you layouts, and you say, "I was thinking this and that." Like you rarely get this like live feedback, right?
I do feel like in that first panel that should at least I need to have like guy with the end is near sign.
With a what? Sorry.
The end is near. People could be ignoring him.
I'm wondering, Roberto, do you think we could nudge the page down and then do another like sunset? Or not the sunset, but like a look over the water?
Yes. Do you want me to do an extra panel, or just change this one?
I think yeah, if you do it on top, kind of like mirroring the bottom, right? So
Yeah.
you do like a wide. Yeah. So what are we at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 panels. That's not so bad. Right on. And even like the monster could always overlap in that too. I don't need to tell you. You know what you're doing. Right on. So while we're getting that done, Addictor Media. Tell me more. It's not much of a question, but very open. You take that how you will.
Very open ended. Yeah, I mean, we just friends that decided that we wanted to make comics together, and I don't think there's much more beyond that. You know, we started it a couple of years ago, a little bit before COVID, and COVID happened. And we've been recovering ever since. This past year, we've just been really kind of excited to kind of get back into. We've all like moved on to a different stage of our lives, pulled in again a little bit, and kind of ready to start creating. Yeah, we just like we're doing a lot of random stuff. Like we started with comics, and then this past year we started like enamel pins.
Nice.
This in late October we're actually doing an enamel pin thing, but we're actually produce like our first like tabletop RPG supplement along with.
Amazing.
And we just enjoy stuff that like tells a story, and even like the stuff that's not like comic book or like a novel or something, we still wanted to tell a story. So like when we made our enamel pins, like we made it about like a wizard who is protecting like a bunch of baby phoenixes, and like that was the story, because we always need like a theme around everything that we and yeah, that's pretty much it. We're just, friends, trying to create something new.
Amazing. That's really cool. And you know what? There's something, what's the word? I want to say like honest about it, but it's like genuine. Genuine is the word I'm going to go with. Right? It's like when it's just people doing it, like they're not like coming at it like, and again, there's not necessarily anything wrong with it, but when people are like, we're going to create a multimedia empire, and then they're just kind of going for the like lowest common denominator kind of thing. Like what are the most people going to buy? Which again, like if that's your motive and that's your goal, that's cool. For you, maybe if that's the thing you want to do. But as someone who is kind of doing what the like is just kind of doing it for the fun of it, for the lack of a better term. Like, we all want to make enough money to continue doing it,
Yeah.
right? But
Absolutely.
it's more genuine in the sense of we're doing this because we enjoy it, right? Like we're
Yeah.
we're spending our free time on a podcast on a Tuesday night, chatting about comics and making comics because we enjoy it, not because there's a big paycheck at the end of this, right? So, so I appreciate that concept of like, yeah, just some friends getting together, being like, what'd be cool? Let's make some comics, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we're like big like tabletop RPG nerds, so like it's always when I read about like podcasts and like how you guys do, I was really excited about this is kind of like what we do. Like we get around a table and we tell stories together as friends. And everyone has like an input. We create something unique. Each of us individually we couldn't have. It's fun. And I really like that aspect about comic books too, because I think we're talking about a very like, typically for like a writer, like you write it, you send it to the artist, you get it back, but like the art adds their own touches to it. They make changes that like you didn't expect, and like that's really the like fun part of like writing a comic versus like writing like a prose book or something like that. Enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, for sure. And that's exactly like I think you nailed it. Like the prose side of things. Like if you want your vision unencumbered and like exactly what you imagine, aside from like an editor's input who's probably just there to like make sure that you're getting your point across, right? Like it's still going to be your vision. So if you're the type of writer that wants that and says like, I want you to do exactly what I want, like comics might not be the place you want to go because the artist, even if they're going to just do the job, even if they're just there to, I'm fine. Like, I want the paycheck. I'll just do exactly what you tell me and move on with my life. They're still going to have a little bit of input with their style, with their approach, with everything, right? So it's always going to be a collaborative vision, even if you try to prevent it. Like the
Yeah.
Alfred Hitchcock style of filmmaking, right? Actors are props, which that's not possible, right? So kind of that, like it's as much as you want it to be singular vision, then go to prose. That's your home. Use your words to tell the story. Otherwise, yeah, this is a collaborative medium. But that's the magic of it. That's
Yeah.
where the fun comes, right? Is that everybody kind of gets a say, and like you said, it's something completely different than you would have come up with on your own, because everybody's kind of has something to contribute that you would have never come up with yourself, right?
But fun, like the baby thing. Roberto
Yeah.
just drew on the page earlier. Like, I don't think I would have come up with that baby thing so quickly.
Right? And everybody's coming at it from different angles and stuff too. And that's kind of how you get there, right? Is that who's got what influence in their mind? I like that you guys have this like very genuine approach to it. And it's interesting. So yeah, so you guys aren't fully dedicated to just comics. Like you guys are kind of doing a little bit of everything. So I've seen, I think it's Incident Report. I've seen that on Kickstarter. I've backed it. I've read it.
I didn't
Yeah, a
know.
while ago. I read the first one, a long time ago. I think I've backed the next as well, but I'm so behind on reading more comics, so I apologize.
I'm behind on producing the comics too. I feel like I've been having like pretty bad writer's block with 4 for a while, but I'm hoping to finish it in the next couple of weeks.
So when you write out the series, are you doing it like, do you have an outline for where the series is going, or do you like write an issue and then hope you figure it out the next one?
Okay, so for Incident Report specifically, like I writing out a series, like I tried to have like the whole thing mapped out ahead of time so that I can like go from one to the other.
Mhm.
But I feel like that's not how it's worked in the practice of like what we've actually tried to publish so far. With Incident Report, I think like the goal that we had set for the series, like before COVID and after COVID, kind of changed like the story that we wanted to tell with it a little bit. And I think we also, when I wrote the first issue and I wrote 2 and 3, I got this like I was pulling a little bit away from the initial promise that I made in the first issue. And so like the first issue begins with our main character, the whole like thing is that like she's a social worker for like kids with superpowers. And we always thought that like that concept was kind of fun. I think when we wrote the first few issues, like it was only going to be like an initial set piece, and the story wasn't about that, even though it was like our first set of panels, our first set of pages. And so like it kind of pulls you into sort of like this like a little bit of like a buddy cop situation, and like murder and like kind of murder. But the more time has passed since like the first issue, like I wanted to, because I have written like a good chunk of issue 4 before, but I restarted it because I wanted to try to pull the series back to a place where like the Anne being a social worker for kids with superpowers is the kind of the point of the series, rather than something that's like tacked on. And I think it just maybe this is just part of like the fact like it's taken so long for us to like get the 4th issue out.
Mm-hmm.
But like just like I guess the initial intent wasn't the same, so like it's
Sure.
changed where we wanted to take it initially. And that's the main reason, to be honest.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean the fear is always that like if you with indie comics in particular, if you take a while to get to it, like you change as a person, right? Your viewpoint changes. A lot of that like starts to shift over time. So like you said, like you may have had a very clear ending that made a lot of sense when you wrote it initially. And then by the time you get to that like final issue or whatever you're up to, right? Like you start thinking, oh, I don't know. That's not how I would do it if I thought about it today, kind of thing, right? So it's not unusual what you're talking about. But yeah, it can be frustrating, and it kind of makes sense why it's hard. It's hard as an indie to just say, I'm gonna go full speed to the end because it's not always under your control to do that. Like people get busy, people have day jobs and lives because indie comics is not the gig. It's not the full-time thing. The full-time thing allows for the indie comics. So yeah, so you end up, you know, trying your best to fill the patches and stuff of where you left it off and how you felt and all that. But it's hard. It's hard because again, things change so much between when you first started this years ago and now. Yeah, it's tough.
For like the rest of the team feels this way, but like for me, I felt like when we wrote and did the first like issue 2 for Incident Report, it was, you know, we're writing a comic book, like they kind of have to be books. We should do it in this way. But like at the end of the day, like we're just a small like indie publisher, like just friends hanging out making stories, and like if people want to read that, that's great. I hope people love the story. I don't think we need to fit ourselves into like a mold of like
Hmm.
what we like a comic should be or needs to be, and like we could just kind of do whatever we want, tell a fun story, and that's we're not beholden to anyone. Mm. I think that's something that like we kind of learned, like freeing ourselves from like this mindset of like having something a certain way and just kind of like letting go with the flow a little bit and see what seems right for the story at the time.
Yeah, I like that. It makes a lot of sense. It, it it's the advantage and the disadvantage of indie comics, right? That you're free to tell your own story, right? Like you don't have to meet a certain level of expectations or you know what I mean? Like you're not required to hit these notes or people will complain because Superman doesn't do that. Or you
Right.
know what I mean? It's like it is this it's your story to tell and people can't argue even with you to say, well, this is the way the story should have gone. It's like, well, it's my story. So you know what I mean? It goes the way I planned it to go. And whether you agree with that or not is irrelevant. Um so yeah, so I think that's good, but then it's also the idea of sometimes constraints are you know, is what helps you get to the meat of things a little easier, right? So when you don't have those, right,
Things can get messy, yeah.
it can get very messy. So it's an interesting thing to juggle, right? Yeah, and then time is another one that just really throws you off, right? Because you don't know. That's completely out of control most of the time. It's just how long it all takes. Um, so
Especially on the writing side, where like once you hand it off, like it could be months before you see like the finished product.
absolutely.
And maybe the story that you told a couple months ago isn't the one that you're thinking about telling right now, and that can be a little difficult sometimes. But
Yeah. Yeah, one thing I'm trying to get better at for that very reason, because I have 3 active projects right now with 3 different artists, and I've written an issue of each of them out of like 5 to 4, I think, no, 3 to, anyways, they're all different miniseries of all different lengths, and I've only written the intro to each of them. So I'm worried about stepping back into it now because I had one clear thought about the story at one point and then handed it off. And now it's like, okay, it's been for one of them, it's been over a year since we started talking about it. Yeah. Yeah. So that artist is off doing some pro work. So it's like, yeah, you do your thing. Oh, get back to my low paying indie stuff when you're done making a name for yourself. Yeah, so happy to have them. Yeah, it takes them a while to get back to me for that reason. And yeah, so now it's like it's been a year. Like I'm in a totally different headspace than I was a year ago, right? So it's tough. But again, it's just part of the game. Is that like, well, you got to try to return to that and try to think about, okay, what was the point I was trying to make here? I think having some notes and things. So I do try to keep. I don't know about you, but I keep a lot of notes. I have effectively what's a journal, right? When I have a project going, I just have like a dump file that I go in every day while I'm working on something and be like, okay, I have this thought. I don't think it belongs anywhere. So I'm just going to start typing. Get it somewhere so that one, it's more of like that so I can get it out of my head. But then now I have all these files, right? And now it's like, at least I'm not losing the ideas. Even, and then when I do need to return to something months later, years later, I can do it because I can go and start reading and being like, okay, I think I understand where I was going with this. But to your point, I'm probably still going to go a different direction than I would have had I just finished it back then. Right. So it's it's a big challenge. It's interesting though, but
I think also like one of the things is that like since there's so much space between, when you start and when the finished product comes, if you are consistently trying to like improve yourself as a writer, like when the finished product does come back, you kind of like see things. Maybe it wouldn't matter like if it was like a month or 12 months, like the long like 12-month wait exacerbates it and makes it so much more apparent that like I wish known what I know now then when I wrote this, otherwise I would move this around, change this, a lot of like second guessing.
yeah, absolutely. So I know you have a separate letter on your books, but do you do like a lettering pass when those come back to you, or?
Yeah. I typically do make a few tweaks to the letters like right before finalizing. I think this is, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is like the Stan Lee method where like he did like the Marvel style where he had the panels first and then like he put dialogue in after them. So, like I do feel like you're kind of doing that at the end a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you see what panels you have. Maybe the expression is a little bit different than what you thought it was going to be, and maybe it makes sense to tweak the letters a little. Yeah, so I definitely find that last lettering pass really important. Fun to make sure that like things sound the way that you thought they were going to, like on the page.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I find the lettering's always like, that's your chance to like read the comic and kind of get a sense of like, okay, this is the thing I thought came across in a script. Because when I don't know about you, but I write in full script. Do you write in full script, or are you doing like full
I
Marvel
write in
style?
full script.
Right on. Yeah. So you find when like you're describing a panel, like you kind of sometimes you even cheat a little bit and say they're feeling like this and blah 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 blah, and like you give more information than maybe can be expressed on a panel, right? Or they took it a different way, which I've rarely had something back that I was like, oh no, that's not exactly what I meant, right? Like it's usually an improvement, but then it's like, okay, but it's now because you've basically sometimes it's like I'm really using 3 panels to make the point, and it's like you've done it in one.
Yeah.
So now
That is an empty space that you should fill in, I guess.
right? And it's like, well, I guess I can like flesh out this conversation, but like for them to say the thing we're seeing, right? It just doesn't. It does. It's a waste of. It's like poor storytelling at this point if I leave it. So I got to correct it. So yeah, I find that lettering pass is like probably the most important one of the whole thing, right? Because even the scripts that I give to the artists, like they're going to update and change and ask questions where things aren't clear. So you have like, even if you don't go through an editor, you have someone giving you a second look, right? Being like, what you think you're saying, you're not saying, right? So
I
an artist,
actually am really excited about I've been using for lettering. We hired Haley Rose Lyon for the last few books that we did, and she has the benefit of also being an editor. So
nice.
like she's lettering and editing at the same time, which is really sweet of her to like help us out.
She can't help herself, right?
Yeah, she's like, you need to change this a little bit. I'm like, okay, Haley.
Nice. Yeah, that's a hidden benefit, but I like that. That's clever. I can confirm. So I was just looking through my files as we were talking. I have the first 2 issues. So I have, and I flipped through it. I'm like, I've read this. So I've read the first 2 issues. I haven't read the third one yet, but yeah, I'll probably need a refresher, I guess, by the time the 4th comes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I loved that the cover to the 2nd issue too. It was I can't remember what's the reference there. Is there a reference?
Oh,
Or
it is a reference. I forget the name of the artist that it's a reference. Believe it's the artist that has like a really famous like self-portrait of himself that he's like drawing himself.
okay, yeah.
What is his name? Rockwell, I think. Is that
Oh
his
yeah,
name?
like Norman Rockwell. Okay,
I
yeah,
believe
yeah.
it's a Norman Rockwell kind of style.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, because I do love that cover. It's really good. And I'm a sucker for an homage cover. I do them quite a bit. I've had Roberto do at least 2 for me so far. So
Cool. I've also
yeah.
found that they do really, really well at cons, which
Yes.
is nice.
Yes, I always recommend it because it's the best way to get people to double back. I did have one guy tell me I should be sued, but that was
Wow.
he's like, you can't do this. I'm like, but it's parody. I absolutely can. That's the point. Like, also the guy next to me is just straight up drawing Spider-Man. So
Yeah.
why are you picking on me? That it's like my characters in like I have like an Army of Darkness one. That's the one that always catches people's eye. So I just make it nice and high, right? I like as close to eye level as I can make it because people always double back. But yeah, I got some grief in Hamilton, Ontario for that one. But
Have you done the classic like Days of Future Past one yet?
no, and I'm trying to find a good reason to. There's so many of those covers that I'd love to get someone to do, but I've been I've been very careful about them. Actually, when will this come out? October? People have seen it. The last one I had done is actually based on the cover of Pretty Woman. So,
That's
yeah.
unique.
Yeah, so that one that's an exclusive for you right now because we're talking in the past. But by the time this comes out, the campaign will already be over. But yeah, that one it's Pretty Woman but with like giant people, like Naked Kaiju Woman is the name
Oh,
of the
that's
book.
perfect.
Yeah. So it's like back to back, but they're like standing amongst the buildings. It's pretty
Pretty
good. I'm
cool.
happy with how it turned out. Yeah. But yeah, and that one was a subtle one. So I'm hoping that I'm always interested to see who catches like the reference because it's not always clear. Yeah, one Roberto did was for Gone with the Wind, and I would say I could count on one hand the amount of people that are like, "Oh my god, it's Gone with the Wind." It's like, yeah, right. Oh, Roberto,
For a
you're on
romance
mute, by the
story.
way, just FYI, just in case. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, it's just such an iconic poster that even if you don't know the reference, like for sure, like you've seen it enough that it'll spark that like recognition, right? So, and Roberto's got a very painterly style, so it worked out.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of anime conventions. And
Nice. Okay.
our next slash our past book, I guess past book for the people watching, is kind of like an anime-ish style. So we're doing like a Howl's Moving Castle homage cover, which should be
Oh,
fun.
amazing.
Yeah, it's a really fun anime. Yeah, just homage covers are just really neat. It's nice paying homage to stuff. We did that a lot in a little bit in Instant Report 2, where like the school where all the kids with superpowers go is Claremont Academy. And neat. Yeah, just fun little Easter eggs, I guess.
Yeah, and it's just it's an extra little reward for people who are paying attention, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that and it's really like as an indie, you only like you're trying to convince people to take a pure risk on something. So if you could give them anything tangible to be like, look, like we have similar tastes. Right? Like if you can appreciate this cover, then you could probably appreciate like my sensibilities. So
Yeah,
it's kind of like a shorthand, right?
100%. Like we started wearing like slag. With like for office based slag, we're like when we go to a convention, we have a lanyard. We layer with all like the slag of our fandoms, so like there's touch
Nice.
points. Like, yeah, I also like Owl House. I think it helps begin conversation.
Yeah,
A way to meet
100%.
people.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I always try to I always wear like a comic shirt. I'm always just like I'm wearing like my Superman shirt is my go-to,
Yeah.
right? And then but it's like not the regular Superman. I got like a old school like Action Comics 1 version of the S. So that usually stops people like Superman, right? Like yeah, of course. Uh but that's like a very basic one. But I do find that when people are walking by, right? It's if you can start pointing out people's t-shirts, it's such an easy way to like bring them to your table. Where it's like, oh man, I love that shirt. I love Chainsaw Man. And they're like, oh, you like Chainsaw Man? And then there you go. That's your conversation starter, right? And like, even if they're not buying anything from you, just having that like connection, like you never know. I've had people who I've seen at con after con after con, and the third one or the fourth one, they're like, all right, man, I'm gonna pick something up, right? So it's like, it's not all about making the sale. Sometimes it's just about making the connection, and then maybe down the road, maybe not, maybe never, who knows, right? But at least you're associated with a good time, which is
Yeah.
what's important, right?
We have a friend that like whenever we're playing like a board game, if it's clear that he's going to lose, he will invent an alternate win condition for himself for that game. Like, my goal is not to win. My goal is to do this random weird specific thing. If we're having a bad con, we do kind of like the same thing. So like, I think we had like a bad con a couple like sometime like mid last year, and they're like, my wife is like, okay, alternate win condition of the day. I'm going to sell a comic book to Superman and Batman, and that was the goal for the rest of the con.
I like that.
I think one con we even like we just started playing like D&D with our booth paper, just
Nice.
like play by post, just like writing in a notebook and passing it back and forth.
I love that.
It's fun to like keep the energy up, especially if you're having like a slow
Oh yeah, and it's honestly the best part of those shows too, especially when they're really slow, is being able to connect with the people around you and to like have these conversations and stuff that it's something you don't get enough. You don't get to talk with people at your level often, right? Like that's part of why we did this show too, right? Like we get to meet a lot of people and we get to have longer conversations just about the industry and how they do it and trade secrets and experiences and all that stuff. And really, yeah, like if you don't have those slowed shows, like if every show was your best show and you're constantly selling, like of course everyone hopes that everybody wants to go home with empty boxes, but the slow ones are always good too because it's like this was my opportunity to just talk to people, and just say, hey, like, how's it going for you? What do you, oh my God, that's really cool. Like you said with the pins, right? Like I never thought of that. Like not just the pins, but have a story with the pins. It's like, oh, that's genius, right? Like it adds a whole level to it. But like
You know what's
things
also
like that,
really
right?
random about it is that like when we did the pins, like, and we made a story behind it, like I didn't think that anybody would care about the story, but like we actually get people to like go to the booth that they look at all the pins, and our pins are basically just like phoenixes, like they just burn.
Sure.
People will ask me like, "Hey, what's the deal with the birds?" It's like, "Oh, well, I have a story for you since you asked." Like, and I wasn't expecting people to ask me. Be like, I would have expected people to just like, "Oh, pretty bird, I'll take this pretty bird," and that's it. But like,
Yeah,
no,
I like
people
the
are
orange
want to
one.
know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, that's smart.
Do you do a lot of cons? Like, are you like you have a really like aggressive con schedule?
Yeah, so we're based out of Toronto. Where are you based out of, by the way? I meant to ask.
Florida. I'm in Florida.
Florida. Cool, cool. Florida's got a huge scene too. So this weekend we have Fan Expo. So for all those watching, this was recorded in August. It's not a surprise, but yeah, so this was recorded in August. So as of the time of recording, Fan Expo is this weekend, which is very similar to, well, not similar, but run by the same people as MegaCon over in Orlando. So it's our biggest one by far.
Yeah.
Like 150,000 people
That's huge.
crammed. Yeah, like way too many tables. They got rid of the food court this year, apparently. So we'll see how that goes. And they added tables where the food court once was. So chaos, mass chaos.
Is there just no food at the convention anymore? Or?
So they moved it to the video game side.
Oh.
Because the video game side, I guess they weren't able to sell those booths that they used to. So now that's the food court, which upset all the artists because it used to be in the midst of Artist Alley. So people would do their rounds, like chill for a bit, and they'd see all the booths and go, oh, okay, I want to check that out. Now they're not going to do that because they're all the way at the other side of the building.
Oh.
So that kind of sucks. Yeah. But that's the big one here. It's very hard to get into. We didn't get in this year. We tried. Although if we're lucky, we did throw ourselves on a wait list for a last minute thing. But who knows? Maybe they'll call day of. I doubt it, but let's see. But yeah, we didn't get it this year, but we did do so the other big one here is TCAF, and that one is indie focused.
That's cool.
So I don't know if you've heard of like Thought Bubble. Thought Bubble is probably the biggest one. No, that one's in the UK. I did that last year.
Wow.
But yeah,
How
that one
was
was.
that? Like, did you?
I did. I had a half table that was very poorly put together. I whatever could fit in my luggage, but I didn't think to bring like a tablecloth. So it's just my that awkward scenario where you can see the person's legs through the table. That was me. But no, I went home with an empty box. This was the only con of the year that I went home with an empty box.
Well, that's good. That's the con that you want to go home with an empty box, right?
Right? Oh, that too. Yeah, the luggage was a lot lighter on the way back, so I was very happy. That, and because I had sold everything out so quickly, I had time to go see all the people from overseas that I've met online, and so it was a great experience. So yeah, and very very indie focused. They do bring in like 2 or 3 big names as like a draw, and they do the smart thing and they put them right at the back, so you're forced to go through all the indies to go see the big name, right? So wonderful con. I love it. It's in Harrogate, England. The town is a very small town in the sense of like everything was closed by the time the con ended at 5. So unless you're going to the like 2 or 3, yeah, right. Unless you're going to like 2 or 3 pubs that are still open, like that's it. Like you're gonna run into everyone from the con.
5 o'clock. That's real bad. I thought I live in Ocala, Florida. There are a lot more horses and cows here. Like my community where my house is, like if I go wake up in the morning, like I can go shake hands with the cow. Like it's real close. But like stuff stays open till at least like 8 p.m.
Yeah, no, there was like it was wild, and I so Toronto, it's like there's always something open, right? Like it's a big city, so spoiled here. Like there's always something. Even Roberto's in Niagara Falls, but he could always go to the casino at 3 a.m. if he felt employed to do something. There's somewhere to go in the middle of the night. But yeah, but there was like one of those. You have those 2 or 3 pubs, and that was it. So that was wild. There wasn't too much going on in that sense, but the con itself was absolutely wonderful. Yeah, and then so here we do get we have so many cons to choose from, and there's always new ones popping up, and to the point that even this year I almost double booked myself because I didn't realize it was happening on the same day. So yeah, like it's great for that, but there's also a lot of competition. So like I mentioned about Fan Expo, like we didn't get in, and there's something like 200 and something tables available in Artist
wow.
Alley, and like no room for you because they have such a high rebook rate. It's something like 80%, 90%, something stupid high. So like if you've had a table there, you will have a table there.